Hello friends, convinced that we live in a simulation because his Q pops every time he gets up to pee here, and today I'm going to show you how to play the single most cancerous build in all of Dota 2. This build is so cancerous that even if you lose, the enemy team will feel incredibly awful, frustrated, and probably lose their next game due to tilt. The build that I'm talking about is Boots of Travel, Aghanim Shard, Nature's Prophet. On top of being the most frustrating build in Dota to play against, this hero and playstyle is not just a meme. It's actually incredibly good, and it's carried me, personally, in quite a few top 100 Immortal games. Anyway, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, the general summary of this build is that you eventually want to get to the point where you are TPing from unique location to unique location, spawning greater treants, cutting waves directly in front of the enemy base, slowly chipping away at their towers and racks until they're spending all of their resources chasing you around the map, where you narrowly escape every single time. So you might very reasonably have the question, why did this suddenly become so good in this patch? Firstly, greater treants have over triple the damage and HP of normal treants, and with the Aghanim Shard, you get 2 of them per sprout. This means that your split push is significantly better due to the fact that you can simply do more damage and tank more tower shots with trees. But there are also some more subtle reasons that this is so good. The more obvious thing is that now you can't just Quelling Blade out of Sprout because a greater treant will spawn on the tree that you Quelling Blade. This effectively makes Sprout a BKB piercing disable, so long as the enemy team doesn't have Phase and a Quelling Blade. But less obviously, arguably more importantly, now you have treant summons bound to an 8-second cooldown rather than a 37-second cooldown, which means your treant split pushing is limited by the 20-second cooldown of your TP ability rather than the 37-second cooldown of Nature's Call. So, with this change alone, Nature's Prophet became twice as good at split pushing. That is too much. So, because you literally can't buy the Aghanim Shard until 20 minutes into the game, basically your job is to figure out how to be useful up until that point. So, starting build, whether you're an offlane or position 5 Nature's Prophet, Blightstone, a bunch of Fairy Fires for extra damage, and then Tangos makes a lot of sense. The very first thing that I do, no matter what role I'm in, is I will send a set of treants out as soon as the game starts, and I will scout in this little location here to see if there is a ward on the right side of the tower, and if there is, I will ping for my mid laner to, hey, go deward that, that is some easy gold for you. So basically, all you do is you run at people and you hit them with trees, you spawn them off cooldown, and you keep your distance. Baiting like this and having people run at you is perfectly okay. You can see that I'm using the Fairy Fires to kind of bait my low HP. As soon as I run out of resources, I hit level 2, so I'm able to go back to base. I tell my teammate, hey man, do you want any stuff? Since the lane is pushed up, what I do with my trees is I send them over to the left here, so that way if the Hoodwink comes over to contest this, she's going to have to take a crap load of damage, and then I pull with my hero. And this just rinse and repeats. Basically, you just hit them with treants, you pull as much as possible when the lane pushes out, and you use your treants to protect the pull, and you TP back to base. Anytime you run out of resources, you can also TP to mid, fill your mid's bottle. This hero is incredibly able to take towers, mostly just because you can protect the creep wave by literally tanking tower shots with Nature's Call, so you want to look to get active early, particularly to the mid and the enemy safe lane tower, because those are the towers that you want to take in order to progress the game, in order to get more farm on the map. So you can see here that I TP mid, and it's so simple. I literally just show up and start hitting the tower. There's no catapult. I think doing this around catapults is definitely better and something you should look to do if possible. But I just wanted to show you this to prove that you don't need to do this around a catapult. You just do it, because most of the time the enemy team just won't show up to defend it, because this hero can push towers so early that the enemy team doesn't actually have the resources to defend a tower push. So oftentimes there will come a point in the game where it doesn't really feel like there's anything that is happening on the map, and maybe it just doesn't feel like there's anything that needs to happen on the map. So for example, in this game that we've just been checking out clips from, we've already taken the mid tower, we've already taken the bottom tower, and we've already taken the top tower, so there isn't a tier 1 left to push. And at 12 minutes, it's extremely unlikely that we're going to get a tier 2, so what do? Do I take lane farm from my team? Well, no, because it's very safe for them to sit in lanes, because as we just talked about, there are no towers for the enemy team to TP to. Do I take jungle farm for my team? Well, no, because my team is fairly capable of taking jungle camps on our side, so I don't want to steal that from them either, because I just, quite frankly, don't have to. So what do? Well, what I do is, a lot of the time I'll buy wards, and I will spend this time TPing in and just getting these deep, annoying wards up, and often I will use the wards to actually farm the enemy jungle. So you can see here that I'm taking their ancients. The item build for position 5 Furion is Brown Boots, Meteor Hammer, Aghanim Shard, and then Boots of Travel. The item build for position 3 Furion is Orchid, Brown Boots, Aghanim Shard, Maelstrom, Boots of Travel, and then Glepnir. After you have these items on either role, your late game items are a choice between Desolator for some insane rat potential, AC for a little bit less rat potential but better for fighting, Sheepstick for catching mobile guys, and BKB if they have a lot of stunners. If you really want to all in the lane pushing thing and not showing up to fights, then Aghanim Scepter is good because it gives you a global root with your ulti, and it lowers the cooldown to 60 seconds, which means you kill every other wave of creeps. The next clip that I'm going to show you basically encapsulates this Nature's Prophet playstyle in a nutshell. If you are a child that's watching this, or you are just disgusted by very grotesque things and you maybe have vomiting issues, I would definitely look away. This is when it's going to get disgusting. Essentially, this can start once you have TP maxed out, because then it's on a low enough cooldown that you can constantly be moving around the map doing stuff. So you can see here that I'm cutting the top wave. I'm already on a cliff. Of course, not right-clicking that sentry ward because I don't want to show that I'm there. I ward the cliff as well. I TP into the enemy base because realistically, they're not going to look for me there. I place a ward down, which gives really nice vision for sniping couriers, as well as just seeing where people are moving around the map and if they're camping me in the trees. And I just sit here. I wait for 10 seconds. So anytime your TP scroll is on cooldown, whether or not you have the Boots of Travel, you are always free to just TP into some trees and then sit there. And you can see that I'm considering, okay, where do I go? I see that the enemy team is top, so I TP bot immediately, and then I cut the wave with Treants. But this is really important in my opinion in playing Nature's Prophet. I don't just cut the wave with trees and not show, because it hasn't been established yet that I'm going to be hitting the waves and in danger as well. And you might be thinking, Jenkins, why the hell would you want to put yourself in danger? And the reason for this is because I want to train the enemy team to think that they can get me. And oftentimes they do. They definitely do get me. So I show here because I want them to feel like chasing me around is going to be worth it. So I use the Meteor Hammer. If I don't have the Meteor Hammer, what I might do is just hit the wave once and then run away, maybe hit the range creep. They don't come to me. In fact, I go to them to fight. This was a mistake. This was stupid. This happens a lot. I think you can actually feed while doing this playstyle, and that's perfectly fine. So you can see that Monkey King just TP'd to the bot lane to deal with the Treant split push. So immediately I'm looking around to see where I can TP. I TP to mid, they overextend, and because the Monkey King is bottom, dealing with my split push, we are able to kill these two in the middle lane. And then I TP bot to the exact same spot, doing the exact same thing, showing myself there, and then the moment my Meteor Hammer hits, I TP out. And so you can see here that a few people actually TP'd here to try to kill me. Monkey King has no TP scroll, Wind Ranger has no TP scroll, and so these heroes, and I think this guy too on Night Stalker has no TP scroll, so these heroes are now stuck in the bot area of the map, which means if I go top to kill this Queen of Pain, or if I go top to just cut, they're going to take damage on their towers. So I TP bot because they were moving towards the top area. I TP top. And then I push. I have the Greater Treants now. You can see that they TP into their base to try to catch me here. I'm actually not sure how they saw me, but they knew that I was there and I immediately TP'd out. So as this is happening, they're killing my team, but they can't get anything. And now it's 20 minutes in, so I have the Greater Treants, so it's even worse. You can see Night Stalker goes top to deal with my split pushing, which gives us this pick off on Monkey King. And this is essentially what you want to repeat for the entirety of the game. You just TP between lane and lane and lane, cutting creep waves so that the enemy team is constantly chasing you, and then you wait for an opportunity where the enemy team steps out of position. And if they don't step out of position, you're still farming more of the map than them. If we look at free camera, look at where my team is. Nobody's even farming these camps over here. They're all totally free for us. We could be farming these if we want. They're not farming anything in front of their base. They're actually farming 0 neutral camps. They are just pushing out waves, dealing with my split push, and even if they kill my treants, these things are worth 8 gold and experience each. It's nothing. And the rest of the game, after the point of 20 minutes, is basically just rinse and repeat this split pushing bullshit until you wipe the entire enemy team because they split up, or they give up because they're so mad, slowly getting their racks and towers chipped away at, that they throw the game to you. Or anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I do want to make an honest remark here at the end. As I find a match here, there are quite a lot of people that are not subscribed to my channel that watch. In fact, it's the vast majority. So if you're thinking about hitting that button anyway, I would greatly appreciate it if you do it now, because I'm really hoping to sell the 100k subscriber badge so I can pay for some protection, particularly because I have to be honest, the hobo situation with the Flanagans, it's real. I'm just scared, and I just didn't want any sorts of attacks coming in, because the beehives and the ferrets and all of these things, it has stopped, but it's too much of a control of my life, and I don't want that anymore. So I'm looking to pay for some protection. Fortunately, the hobos in Canada here, during the winter, they go into hibernation in different polar bear and koala caves during the winter, but they come out in full force. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.